Welcome everyone to the Galactica Corecast. This is a space for every present and future Galactica Network citizen to have some fun, chat with the team, and learn everything you need to know about the very first Cypher State. Before we start, it's very important to remember that myself, Cosmos Hoss, indeed, and every member of the team that joined us on the stage, we are your guides to navigating the Cypher State, but we are not your financial advisors. In addition, all guest speakers' opinions, if you decide to come up on stage, nothing said on this space constitutes financial investment advice, and all the guest speakers' opinions are their own. Now we have that all out of the way, let's go around the panel as usual. Today we have some amazing guys with me. I've got Cosmos Hoss, my regular co-host from the Tuesday space. He's decided to join us as a speaker today, which is awesome. I always love having you, man. How you doing?
Doing well, man. Honored to be here. I love talking shop, love crypto, and like right now it's just, it's a good time, good vibes, and I always want to shout out every single person all the time that tunes in, especially during the bear market, because this is when there's good info out there, and I'm behind the scenes a lot, and there's so much going on right now that it's just a lot of people are head down and building some amazing cool technologies that are going to get released out in the wild here, really soon. So it's very exciting times.
100%, man. Yeah. That's one of the main points of today's space. In fact, is the release of our Devnet. So it's a huge deal for us. We're so proud to have got to this point, and that's why we've got all of our tech guys up here to discuss things with. So again, if you have any questions for us, make sure you put them in the comments below. We also have Frederick. Frederick, how are you doing, my friend?
Hello, everyone. Doing great. Happy to be here today. Happy to talk a bit about the Devnet. So for everyone who hasn't read the news, before we had a Devnet that was kind of private and we used it internally. But from now on, you can also, everyone can use it. Check out our documentation, try out how the technology works, and also all the developers can try out the technology, give us feedback on what they want to build the use cases they want to have. So I'm looking forward to all of your questions.
Amazing, man. Absolutely. And finally, we have Mike T. How you doing, Mike? It's good to see you, dude.
Hey, Dave. Good evening. And it's nice to be here with you and speak. I'm fine, actually.
The rest of us.
We just finished a lot of work with that Devnet to make it public. So we today discussing it and then going for a short weekend to get rest.
Oh man, that weekend, the Friday feeling. We can get this one over with as fast as we can, Mike. I promise. We'll get you off to your break.
Thank you, sir.
Mike has been working so hard. So has the rest of the tech team on the Devnet. So it's guys, you should really check it out. Like, it's a public Devnet, so you should definitely go check out the website. It's a prominent link on the main website. Just check on there and see if you can maybe pass through the zkKYC process. It should be a pretty good UX experience, and that's one of the things we want to test. Like I say, just check out the website, check out the Devnet, and see what you can do with it. It's pretty bare bones at the moment, but it's going to be a very good test bed for us. Okay, everyone. So now we have everyone kind of introduced. I just want to say a couple of things just to make sure that everyone's aware. So what I've done is I've pinned the Cypher State campaign tweet to the top of the space for now. But during the segment of the space where we're going to be talking about the Devnet, I'll be posting up the Devnet tweet up there for now. For now, if you want to get involved with Galactica Network in general, just click on the pinned tweet. You'll see the Cypher State campaign. All you need to do is join our Discord. There is no money involved. All you need to do is provide some social contributions, rank up in our Discord, and then you can earn your Galactica Network citizenship in that way. Earn your universal basic income for life after you have the GNC in your wallet. And it's a good deal. It's just make sure that you provide something for us, and we will reward you in kind. It's the reputational nature and the social nature of Galactica Network. In addition, I'll just give a reminder, if we could get as many retweets on this space as possible, I would really appreciate it. seems to be the best way that the algorithm is going right now. So just retweet, please. Other than that, give us a like always, and give us a comment if you have any questions. Last things is that if you would wish to come up and ask a question and just join the speaker panel, please make sure you request early. That way we can kind of do a little bit of a vet on you, just make sure that you're not a bot. And in general, if you could make sure you stay on mute until we call you to speak, because there is quite a lot to get through already on this space. Okay, everyone, with all that out of the way, I think we're just going to get on to the first segment of this show, which will be, as always, our news segment. Today, well, this week in general, we've got quite a lot of news, and we've actually got quite an interesting one to start with. So essentially, China has been rolling out its CBDC. Of course, China decided to roll out its CBDC very early, and it's having a few issues. So China is kind of struggling to achieve mass adoption of its digital yuan. This could be kind of serving as maybe a potential warning to the US and EU as far as like adoption of CBDCs in general. And this kind of like this institutionalized method of transferring money. So I don't know if anyone's actually already seen this news on the panel, and if anyone has any interest in discussing what they think on this, but I did have a bit of a question with regard to it. I'm just wondering, like, how we kind of plan as Galactica Network to kind of leverage the lessons that we might learn from the challenges of CBDC adoption in China, and like the concerns around privacy, government like overreach, that kind of thing. So I don't know if anyone has any answer for that, maybe.
I guess I'll go with that. So, like, the way I look at CBDCs is, like, it could be a really good thing and it could be a really bad thing. And it's more so about the policies that are in place. You know, would you feel more comfortable with a CBDC that's coming from China, or, you know, like a CBDC that's coming from some EU nation? Or, you know, I don't think America's ever going to have a CBDC. That's just my thought process, at least not anytime soon. But I think that they can be a good thing if used the right way. But if it's more of a, you know, like a communist regime, I mean, I really wouldn't feel too confident with that. You know, they could just click a button and get rid of your wealth, or you're not allowed to buy things. And that's what most people's fears are with CBDCs, is the fact that there's some central entity that can basically make it so you can't have a life, you can't transact or anything like that. But I also think that it could be used in a good way as well. But not, I just wouldn't have confidence in China. That's just my personal opinion. I could be wrong, but I don't think they technically would have the best interest of every citizen. So that's, I guess, a lesson to be learned, you know? I don't know if that makes sense, but that's kind of my thought process with comparing that with, you know, other nations, because I think there will be plenty of, you know, countries that over the next decade or so that will have some sort of CBDC. I just don't think it's all going to be bad, you know. So that's, I guess I'll say that.
That's a completely fair point. Yeah. Oh, Frederick, you have your hand up, please.
I agree with you there, Cosmos. In my opinion, I haven't read too much into the news and what's actually behind this lack of adoption. And I think from my point of view, I'm too far away from China to actually understand what's going on there. But it kind of surprises me because of the...
I can actually give you a little bit of context, Frederick, if you want.
Thanks. Yeah, great.
I think the main thing seems to be that users don't seem to be perceiving a real like significant difference between the digital yuan app, because it's like basically through an app you have to use this thing, and existing payment services like Alipay and WeChat. So they just don't see the difference between it, and they're just not adopting it in that way because it's not making enough of a difference, I suppose.
Okay. Yeah, that actually makes sense. I was in China a couple of times, and WeChat is everywhere. So you can pay in every restaurant with WeChat, and it's already so simple that I guess some of the major advantages of CBDCs don't have such a big impact. But if part of the reason for the little adoption is also privacy concerns, I think this plays a bit into what we are doing, that we as Galactica offer a system where users can combine their privacy interests with the interest coming from the regulator for compliance. And what I think is also cool is that in our system, if there are compliance rules you are following when using a dApp, that it's really transparent on how this compliance actually looks like. So you as a user know what's going on in the back, and you don't have to trust a centralized party like the Chinese party on handling it properly.
Yeah, 100%. Like I feel like that is that privacy. It's the privacy that always becomes the sacrificial lamb on all of these systems. And I'm really happy that we've managed to find a way of finding that intersection between privacy and compliance with Galactica Network. Because it's it's been an almost impossible thing until pretty recently, as far as the tech stack and just our ability to actually implement this kind of thing goes. And I think Galactica is kind of a bit of a unicorn in the way that it's actually decided to implement this. I think most, like, you have the traditional kind of systems in which they have like liquid trust and actual liquidity, and then you have like the blockchain solutions, which tend to have privacy, like transparency and immutability. But finding the like intersection between all this stuff where you still actually maintain your privacy, it's been the golden goose for a long time. Mike T, do you have an opinion on this one, or should we move on?
I'm just thinking about my bank account got blocked today. Not blocked, but freezed, and I was needed to call the bank to understand why. They asked me several questions, and after that they unblocked everything. It's just like security systems. Their security systems, when they think that some actions may not be initiated by you, maybe by some hackers, or I don't know. Actually, that systems do not work properly in the modern world, because all the times they work, it's actually a mistake that just blocks you from paying somewhere, especially when you're in some other country, when you get to some other country and try to start paying for something, especially if the sum is not small. They do it quite often, and that's only makes problems to you. Yeah, so I'm just thinking maybe a question for discussion. How do they, governments and traditional banks, will work with the new blockchains like Galactica that are don't allow them to block the accounts when they want to do it quite often? I'm not sure they doing that only because they are really worrying for your funds, or maybe it's just a simple way to prevent maybe some malicious actions. What do you think about it?
That's super interesting. It's not in that way. I haven't really thought about it in that way often. So I think there's definitely it's a very small amount of people. It's actually a very small amount of people who actually will end up being the digital sovereign individuals, I suppose, who have full self-custody of their assets and their social capital and everything else that protocols like Galactica actually offer. So I suppose for the majority of people, I suppose the majority of normal people who are going to want to have the benefits of blockchain, of having instantaneous payments cross borders, and all the basic stuff that blockchain just does better than finance, like traditional finance, they're going to need some trusted third party. And I suppose banks are kind of already the trusted third party that most people use for their money. So they would provide a good interface in that way, as long as they can figure out a way to do it in a way that doesn't completely screw you for privacy. I don't know. What would you think, Frederick, to Mike's question? That's an interesting one.
Yeah, I also think it's interesting. I'm not sure. I think these capabilities to block transaction flows as a kind of dual use thing that can be used for a seemingly good thing to prevent hackers from joining accounts. But on the other way, someone who has this possibility can also abuse it to, I don't know, block people of other opinion from their money. So, in my opinion, the best way would be to kind of improve the security and usability of the system so that the bad cases don't happen in the first place. And then you also don't need these restrictive high power actions to fix it. But to which degree this is possible, I'm not sure. Probably it has to be a kind of compromise of different systems working together so that there's a good solution for everyone.
Yeah, that is a compromise. That's for sure.
Yeah, I think an awful lot of people might believe that there's going to be some black and white solution to all this, where there's like the Web 2 solution, and then there's the traditional finance kind of solution, and then there's the digital natives. But it's always going to be a compromise, guys. It's never going to be cut and dry. Jay, sorry, man.
Yeah,
you seem to have come off.
No, like I was just, I don't know if this goes coincide because I kind of been just doing some work at the same time, but I do think in crypto as a whole, what's so cool about it is that there are entities or applications or things that will be leveraging crypto, but they basically don't care that it's centralized. You know what I mean? Like that's the thing. What I like about crypto is that it offers all of that. So if someone just doesn't care about decentralization, or like whatever, we just want to use the blockchain because it's, the records, it's immutable and all this other things, because like all it is a decentralized accounting ledger, but they can kind of tap into that network as long as they aren't able to go back and change the blocks, but they could be super centralized, right? Like a company can hypothetically use the Cosmos SDK and deploy a blockchain and not even IBC enabled, and it could specifically only be for the people that they want to be in there. You could use some sort of KYC mechanism and things of that nature where it's like, hey, we have this exclusive group that's only allowed to use this blockchain, and it could be super centralized because it's like we want, some people might want that for whatever their use case is. I mean, I obviously prefer the more decentralization as possible, but I kind of like played the devil's advocate, and I think that sometimes I wonder how truly important decentralization is. Like I get the importance of it, obviously, like I'm a maxi of privacy and all this other things, but I think you can also leverage crypto to fit whatever sort of niche that you want it to be as well. So it will be fascinating to see how everything kind of pans out, but that's kind of my prediction, is that it's almost like this huge galaxy, and like something like one planet could be super like centralized and, not somewhere where I would want to be at, but maybe it fits some sort of niche or use case for, a government or, a financial institution or whatever have you.
Absolutely, man. This is pretty much kind of like this kind of question is exactly what led to the creation of Galactica Network, and trying to find this this intersection where most people have an option, and most people have an option without while not giving up as much as possible. So the intention here is that you can be a self-sovereign private individual on a blockchain, while being able to transact in a compliant manner, and being able to communicate on and off chain, still retaining your privacy, while self-sovereignly holding your assets and your social capital on chain in your wallet. That's it's a huge undertaking that has basically only been possible since the improvements on zk technology in the last few years, and which have enabled the kind of tech stack that Galactica uses. It's a huge thing. I'd just like to remind everyone at this point, if you would like to come up and speak, you are more than welcome to come up and discuss with us. There will be segments of this show where I'll just be discussing with the devs kind of like what's going on for the DevNet. We're more than happy to have you up on stage so we can just poke your brains, and you can ask your questions if you want to. So just request to speak if you wish to. Also, please drop a like and a retweet on the space. That's really appreciated. Okay, guys. So on the, I think we'll just nip down to the next set of news, because there's one more bit of news I would like to just get out there before we move on to the DevNet stuff. So this is actually a couple of news articles kind of reduced into one, but essentially the US House Republicans, they've actually introduced a new crypto oversight bill. It's called the Financial Innovation and Technology for the 21st Century Act. I love this naming convention. It's great. The aim of the bill is kind of like the normal stuff to safeguard consumers and investors, same kind of remit as all these government bodies like the SEC and the CF, whatever the C1 is. I keep on forgetting that one, Hoss. Sorry.
Who cares what they are? They pretend. They're a bunch of pretenders.
There's too many acronyms anyway, man. There's too many acronyms. Regardless. So essentially this piece of legislation, this proposed legislation, is in relation to the SEC and its oversight over digital securities, commodities, and stablecoins. It's basically backed by Republicans. It's a kind of a partisan bill, with the Republicans on one side trying to get people safe while removing like too much oversight and stopping the stifling of innovation, and the Democratic side, who are basically kind of agreeing with the SEC and Gary Gensler and how they're kind of already doing it with regulation through enforcement. But the bill, as it seems to be introduced, would essentially award like 70% ish of regulatory oversight to the CFTC. I remembered it, CFTC. For regulatory purposes, and basically kind of new to the SEC as far as that goes. So I don't know, like I would probably ask you for a comment, Hoss, to be honest, because you're our resident American. What do you think of the two departments, and how do they rank up?
Yeah, so I predicted this a while ago. I don't really know if it's a prediction. It's just going to come to fruition. I look at America, and there's 50 states, and each state kind of is run its own way, and it's like there's Republican-led states, there's Democratic-run states, and the Democratic Party led the way with like marijuana and make essentially legalizing it one by one, and then starts to put more pressure on the federal, and then just becomes more of just like a reality, right? Like most states now, like marijuana is legal. Like you can get like a municipal card and go get medical marijuana. And it's going to be the shoes on the other foot now with crypto. So like, the Republican Party for basically its existence is less regulation, less big oversight, big government, so to speak. And, they have been embracing crypto since basically day one, like all the more Republican ran states are they're more for crypto. So it's like, okay, Florida and Texas and Wyoming and all these more red states, so to speak, are kind of leading the way with it. And it's going to be kind of the same process, like one by one by one. And then it even starts to kind of trickle into more of a blue state, And then sadly, if you follow the money, typically right now, the left is more about big banks and bailing out the banks. You can kind of follow the money and see, like when Obama was in there, we had the 08, 09, basically the 08 crisis, and we could have saved substantial money throughout our country by just giving every American, say, $1 million, as opposed to bailing out trillions of dollars to banks. And so you can kind of follow that game and see who's in it. Like Gary Gensler worked for Hillary Clinton, and he's been kind of just enforcing it things like the rules are set one way, then he changes them another way. And the problem that I have, like, I'm not like all anti-government or anything like that. It's just the fakeness, right? Like, oh, we care about the people. We're scared for the people, but yet my wife and I can take all our whole life savings and go to the casino and lose it all instantaneously with no there's no precautions. Like, there's no questions. I can go into the casino with any amount of money I want. No one's going to stop me, and I could just throw it down on one bet and lose it all. But like, for me to, for Americans to want to buy and trade crypto, there's all this red tape, because there's not a way for them yet to not necessarily control it, but for them to prosper from it. Them and their their group, so to speak. And people see it. We're not stupid. And the people, I respect the people on the right that are kind of like, hey, look, this is because it really is. It's a sign of freedom, right? Like, the fact that you can go to a bank with your own money and you want to take it out, and they ask you 7,000 questions, like, what are you doing with it? What are you doing? Like, it's my money. Who cares what I'm doing with it? It's my money. All money is a symbolization of time. So I devoted all this time to make this money. Just give me my money. Like, I'll go do whatever I want with it. It's my money. And that's the same thing I feel like with crypto. It's like, it's my money. If I want to buy Bitcoin, or I want to buy this, or I want to buy that, and if I lose all my money, it's okay. Like, I am an adult. I don't need anyone to like help me out. Just like if I go to the casino and I want to throw all my money on it and I lose, I got to take responsibility for it. So that's kind of my thought process about, oh, we care about the people, because they really, truly, at the end of the day, they really don't. These people that like pretend they do. It's more about how they can, and I'm not saying regulation is not a good thing or a bad thing. Like, I want regulation, but I want it to be legit, fair, not some over the top, like, ridiculous, oh, well, you have to have a license, like, to mine Bitcoin or something. Like, that's just all stupidity to me. Like, no, it's freedom. If I want to buy a bunch of rigs and start mining Bitcoin or something, I should have no problem. I shouldn't need a license, right? Like, the end goal with everything, in my opinion, is they want to have more regulation. They want to have more license, more, you got to renew this license to mine Bitcoin and all this other stuff. And there was a thing about, Biden put it out not that long ago, that he was trying to pass where you need a license to mine Bitcoin. And then you can look at the facts. My lights that are running right now in my house actually consume more energy than it would be for me to mine Bitcoin. So it's like, what are you talking about? My refrigerator has more energy than it would be for me to mine Bitcoin. So what are you doing right now? It's all about overstepping, and that's the problem that I have, is the overstepping.
Yeah, I mean, this is the issue in general when with politics. It's very powerful, very wealthy individuals, and their incentives are not aligned with the people, regardless of which side of the aisle they sit on. It doesn't really matter at all. Regardless of which side they sit on the aisle, they do not have their incentives aligned with the people. And this is one of the things that we also believe that blockchain solves. With Galactica Network, we are also intending to implement meritocratic governance. So a protocol that is governed by its citizens, and we can identify the blockchain itself can identify citizens through a reputation score, like who is actually contributing to the network, who deserves the kind of governance weight on certain specialist topics, based on their actual real real life kind of credentials, that kind of thing. It's a whole system that is far more fair, and in the grand scheme of things, not having to rely on people to determine this kind of thing. We'd much rather rely on the protocol holding up the people rather than the people holding up the government. It's backwards, and we can try and put it back the right way, I think, with Galactica Network. Mike T, you have your hand up, mate. How you doing?
Yes. Just one question to Cosmos. I 100% agree with what you just told us. But problem is maybe that you cannot launder some monies in the casino, but you can launder the money in crypto. Probably, at least you can move them to some other addresses, use some mixers, and do some
Yeah,
stuff.
but even that perspective though, like, do you think crypto is more laundered than the U.S. dollars, like actual printed dollars? You know what I mean? Like,
I mean, that's proven not so. I mean, there's far more laundering going on in traditional finance as a percentage than there
there's
is going
so
on in
much.
crypto.
There's so much.
Yes.
It's ridiculous. Like, you think about how long this game has been being played for. You know, you have like Enron and all those people just, and it's all this backdoor action. And like, the thing that's great about blockchain is that really does mitigate it. Like, there's always a way to do stuff, right? Like, it's just always going to happen, but it really substantially reduces the possibility. You know, like, if what's more transparent, me going to the store right now and using my credit card, or me going and using $100 in cash to go buy it? You know, like, yeah, they probably can still figure it out, but it makes them, the work harder. And I just don't get down with that. I don't mind people having to KYC an address to a centralized exchange or whatever, as long as that information is not being leaked to just random people. And then but also at the same notion, who gets to decide that gets to see that, and what's the measurements? Like, hey, we need to see this person. Who is this? Okay, Coinbase, you have this address. We get to see it. Well, what's the criteria? Are you just being invasive and just spying on people, or is it like, we see all these real sketchy transactions? And but like, the thing about centralized exchange is, like, it has to go to a bank account. So, like, your bank would know, like, oh, okay, someone's making, say, like $100,000, right? And they barely have money in their bank. And then all of a sudden they're getting all these huge deposits into their bank. Like, yeah, maybe they do flag that up and say, hey, like, let's check into this. And then, yeah, if you're KYC, I don't have an issue with them, like, looking and saying, okay, yeah. And then you're like, they look at your taxes or whatever you're claiming, then that's fine. But this whole notion of, like, well, blockchain, you can launder money and all this other stuff. I mean, laundering money's been going around for humanity forever, right? And every single crevice of the planet Earth has United States dollars somewhere. Like, you can go anywhere and there's United States dollars for the most part. So I don't like to hear that crap, because it's just, the United States dollars is everywhere. Like, you can go to some Middle Eastern country and people have United States dollars. Why? You know what I mean? Ask yourself that. Why? Is it because, though, the currency is better than their currency? Maybe, but they could do a lot more with it. It's like, I don't want to get all conspiratorial or anything, but that's just like it's just a fallacy in my mind about, like, this whole notion. Oh, you use mixers and all this. Yeah, I guess you could, but it's not like everyone's doing it. And like, think about how much money's in crypto right now. It's not even $1 trillion market cap. There's trillions of dollars of United States dollars just floating around somewhere.
Yeah, I mean, again, as a percentage, the amount of fraud going on in traditional finance is far higher than in the crypto space. So regardless of market cap, it's just more fraud is going on in traditional finance, but as a percentage. I've actually got one of my favorite people in the comments. Native, how you doing, man? It's good to see you. So he's saying, programmable currency, no matter what regime or who's in charge, is a bad idea, in my opinion. Sooner or later, it will be used for nefarious purposes. Yeah, I would tend to agree, assuming that the people in charge are, well, it's people in charge. This is why you need a blockchain. You need a protocol to be the rules and the enforcement layer. That's the only way that you can get rid of the kind of falsehoods and the bad actors in this world, is by removing the need for them. It's the same reason why smart contracts are better than normal contracts. Okay, guys. So what we're going to do, I'm just going to do a very quick reset, because we've been talking about this for a while and it's been awesome conversation, but we've got so much to get through. Okay, so I'd just like to remind everyone who's here, thank you very much for joining us. You are listening to the Galactica Corecast. This is basically the community space for the Galactica Network. We are a protocol for compliant privacy. You can think of us as a normal EVM blockchain, however, with the added benefit that you can have a KYC on chain that is completely private through zero knowledge cryptography, and you can also have your reputable persistent identity that follows you all across the network, so you can transact with your social capital rather than just your financial capital. Through the zero knowledge tech stack that we have, You can also communicate on-chain and off-chain, completely privately, again. So you can finally get things like real-world assets and like attestations from off-chain. You can get them on-chain in a provable manner without sacrificing your privacy. So it's a very innovative protocol. You should definitely check us out. There is a pinned tweet which will be up there for about another minute or so, I think, for the Galactica Network Cyberstate campaign. Through that, you can jump into our Discord, start ranking up, and earn your Galactica Network citizenship. This is pretty much your key to being a citizen in the Galactica Network, and it enables you to get your UBI and various other benefits. So that's a universal basic income for you for life. The moment that the GNC hits your wallet, these will be available when the mainnet hits. But that's basically a universal basic income based on the value produced by the network for life once you have that in your wallet. So it's definitely worth checking out, definitely worth going through the Cyberstate campaign. So just click on that pinned tweet and have a look. Otherwise, just give us a like and a retweet on this space, please. And if you have any more questions, either request to speak or jump in the comments below, and we're happy to answer any questions you have. Okay, everyone. So we're actually going to move on to the second part of the show now. We've been talking about the news so far. We're now going to be talking about Galactica's DevNet, its tech, with Frederick and Mike T. So I'm really looking forward to this. We've got a bunch of questions lined up. Let's see how many of these we can get answered in a nice way. So yeah, let's go. Are you guys ready?
Yeah, sure. Let's go.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Sure.
Okay, guys. So basically, we released a press release yesterday about our DevNet. This is, I believe, the second phase, or is this the first phase? I've lost track of phases of our DevNet. And in this one, what kind of like specific feedback are you hoping to receive from developers about this, about the public DevNet? Whoever wants to answer first. Frederick, you have your hand up.
Yeah, so I don't want people to tell. I don't want to tell people what feedback to give, but of course I'm hoping for honest and constructive feedback. So basically on what they think about the protocol, how we should improve it, and also how we should make Galactica the protocol that users and developers on the chain want and benefit from. So I'm open for everything. If you haven't seen it, I think in Discord there will be a channel to give feedback, and I'm happy to read everything you're writing.
100%, guys. Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, if you are a developer, or if you know a developer in the space right now, please ask them to either get in touch with us. You can do that on the website through the DevNet tab. You can get hold of us on Twitter. You can get hold of us on Discord. However you want to do it. If you know any developers who are wanting to try something new, who perhaps want to integrate reputation or some kind of compliance gated functions into their dapps, so for dexes or for governance, for DAOs, all this kind of thing, just get them to get hold of us, because this is the kind of stuff that really hasn't been done before, especially at like the base layer of a layer one. So for this, for the next question, I would like to probably put this one to Mike T, I think. So could you just clarify for us, Mike, like the functionalities that are currently available on the DevNet? What can people actually do?
Yes, sir. So first of all, it's an EVM network that is fully functional. I think that we have everything there, including the NFTs. It supports the MetaMask, so you can get some test funds. You can send them to your friend. You can issue the tokens, your C20 tokens or any other standard tokens. You can deploy your code, your smart contracts, dapps, everything that you can actually do now on Ethereum. Correct me if I'm wrong, so Frederick, but I think that it is. Sure. And on that basement, we have our zero knowledge KYC feature fully deployed. It's let's say the first public version that we have, but it has all the necessary stuff to how to say, to provide the value that is actually promised by our KYC technologies. So what is there? You can go to our website, to our web application. You can issue yourself a KYC. And what's important is that no personal data is needed now to issue a KYC, because it's a DevNet. We just allow you to put any fields, anything to the fields, like any name, any birth date. And you can issue this KYC for yourself. And then you can also issue a small zero knowledge proof, your first zero knowledge proof, that is basically proving that you have a KYC, that it has certain level, that it's not expired. So this is like a technical proof that it's needed to the apps to see that at least you have a KYC without any custom disclosures, let's say. So they don't know anything about you, but they know that you're KYC user. Yeah, so, and with this KYC records and with this proof, you're becoming the, I think, average GALA user that has all the minimum that passed all the minimum requirements to use the dapps. And about the dapps, so far we don't have anything there. We are looking for partners and partner developers who would want to integrate with us and build the stuff. And as I told you, the zero knowledge KYC feature is already there, and it's easy to integrate with it right now. So we're ready, let's say, for the first adopters and for the first development partners.
Perfect, Mike. I just want to just one clarification, just for everyone in the room. We keep on talking about KYC, and I know KYC is such a hot topic, especially when it's on a decentralized platform. This is a very specifically a zkKYC, which is zero knowledge KYC. This is part of what I was talking about earlier, in that you can have like an on-chain, off-chain link on Galactica Network that still retains your privacy. So through a zero knowledge based tech stack, we can provide what we call guardians. So you can have, the guardians are essentially notaries. So you can have an off-chain entity like a university, a bank, or any other, like a KYC provider in this case. And they can, we can send, you can send data to the off-chain provider through splitting some of the data. You can provide them with the required data that they need to attest on-chain that you are KYC'd in the form of a zk certificate. And then you can prove to anyone else on-chain that you have this notarized document from the off-chain provider. So I just wanted to make that very clear, that you are not sacrificing any privacy whatsoever by being KYC'd on Galactica Network. And that is one of the fundamental aspects of our network, and it's one of the reasons why it's so valuable. Hoss, sorry, man, you've had your hand up for a bit, please.
No, so I guess I should know this, but is Galactica going to be EVM? The whole chain going to be EVM?
On Galactica, we have an EVM module, so similar to EVM OS.
Okay.
It's Cosmos based, also featuring EVM.
Yeah, and then my second part was, did you guys see? I did a space on Tuesday with Mystic Labs, but they're basically, and it was the founder of MetaMask Snaps too. It was a really good space, but it's pretty cool. Like, they're going to have MetaMask integrated. The goal was by, I think, September 1st. It's going to be fully, pretty much, not 100% at the start, but it's going to be pretty much the same experience that someone has on an EVM chain. They're going to be able to interact with their MetaMask like throughout all of Cosmos chains, which is like really bullish, because last time I checked, there was around 30 million or so active users that use MetaMask. So now, like, Cosmos chains won't have that friction where it's like, hey, well, you need to get a Kepler, you need to get this wallet or that wallet. They could just use their MetaMask, and just like they have the experience that they have now. If they're like, oh, you know what, let me go check out Polygon, or let me go check out Arbitron or whatever, they're going to have that same kind of feel that they could just add, like Osmosis or Galactica or basically any sort of chain without having to like import your seed into another wallet or start a fresh wallet up. So like that was really cool, because that's like the future of all of this, right? Like when you go to the store, you don't have 7 wallets in your pocket. You have one wallet. You just pull it out and you have your credit card or your money or whatever. You don't, well, I'm going to this other store. Let me go get my other wallet to go to the store. Like that's a pain in the ass. So it's really cool that that's happening. And it's just nice to see like all of crypto getting more user friendly. And it's just it takes time. This is so early. It's still all experimental, but really bullish. And yeah, that's awesome. You guys got the EVM module. I thought so. I was just making sure that, I guess all the contract language would be in Solidity. That's all.
It's actually very neatly on to my next question, which has kind of partially been answered already, but I'll ask it anyway, just in case, just to get a solid answer. What does EVM compatibility actually mean for developers? And would someone familiar with Ethereum and Solidity, would they be able to build and test like a fully compliant dApp at this point on this version of the DevNet?
Yeah, maybe I can start. So what EVM compatibility means is that you can deploy the same smart contracts and process of moving funds as on Ethereum or other EVM chains. And therefore, all the developers who know this system, and especially Solidity as one example of a programming language you can use to build smart contracts on Ethereum, you can directly apply the same knowledge and tools and build up best practices to build dApps on Galactica. And this is, in my opinion, a really good thing, because it jump-starts the system and makes it so easy to bring all of the things that were developed on other chains into Galactica and then combine it with the additional features that we're offering. And yeah, I'm quite excited for it, and I'm curious what developers will do with it to combine the EVM things that they might have done on another chain already, combined with the compliance and privacy features that we are offering with the zero knowledge tech, and also the tools we offer to build these zero knowledge solutions and integrate it with the Ethereum smart contracts.
Absolutely, man. Yeah. I'd actually like to ask a kind of a bit of a follow-up there. You know what? No, can you just maybe, Frederick, it might be good if you could answer this one. Can you provide some more details on like the zkKYC feature itself? Because this is pretty much like the primary like zk functionality we've got going on the DevNet at the moment. So how does it function, and what are the benefits to developers, and more importantly, I guess, users of anyone playing with the zkKYC feature on the DevNet?
zkKYC is one kind of zero knowledge certificate we have. So it's a certificate, meaning an attestation of some data about a user or account. So, for example, that you have passed the Know Your Customer process, or that you have received a university diploma or something like this. And this is submitted to the blockchain, so that it is verifiable by anyone that has access to the blockchain. And the zero knowledge part comes in if you want to prove statements about this data in the zero knowledge certificate. So in the example of zkKYC, a user has gone through a Know Your Customer process and proven to, we call them guardian, that they are a real person with name, address, and certain passport documents backing this up. And this data is then hashed together into a single hash that is added to a data collection called a Merkle tree, where there's a really nice possibility to prove that you have a valid record in the Merkle tree without needing to show anyone which record is actually is. And with the zero knowledge, you can prove statements about this, the data in your zkKYC. So for example, you could prove that we are from a specific country without actually disclosing which country you are in. And zero knowledge is basically a fancy mathematical process in which you can compress proof that you are from a specific country without showing the data that is needed to support it. And this proof is built on the user's machine in his wallet. That's why we're developing the MetaMask step, which is basically a plugin, so that users can hold their personal data in self-custody, create these zero-knowledge proofs to provide statements about their compliance to a DApp. And this can then be verified in a smart contract on-chain, or it can also be processed off-chain if needed. Does that already answer your question? Or should I go into more details or something?
No, that I think that pretty much solves it in as far as the question goes, and as far as hopefully everyone in the audience has a vague idea. Like I say, we're trying to describe this in a way that's digestible, but this is some of this stuff is quite complicated. The one other kind of follow up to this one, I suppose. I've not could you just elaborate a bit on the circuit libraries? And which are used for building like the custom zk disclosures. I didn't actually understand that part myself, so I'd love some clarification.
Yeah, sure. So zero knowledge is quite a young technology that got big in the last couple of years. So this is the way how you're actually programming to create proofs about statements and then hiding the input data that are needed to prove it. And these are done in kind of different programming language. It's a bit hard to understand when I was starting, at least. And we are basically providing a lot of the building blocks that do basic proof steps you need to build bigger things together. So, for example, we build a zero-knowledge proof a user can use to show that he has a valid KYC and that he's also at least 18 years old. And this has a lot of components that people can reuse. For example, this check of the age against the threshold is one of these components. Or another component is that the hash of your zkKYC is actually included in this Merkle tree on chain. So this is the Merkle proof that you can also reuse. Or we have other components that are a bit more low level for translating private keys to public keys or proving the ownership of something. One I think that is nice is also the dapps-specific human ID. So you can use it to prove that the holder of a KYC is a unique person, which is a good thing to have if you want to build a voting system where every human gets a vote. And all of these components you can then put together to build up your own use case. And we are quite excited for what people are going to build with it.
No doubt at all. Yeah, I'm genuinely excited as well. Like, as I've said previously, Galactica Network is really actually enabling stuff that we haven't been able to do in blockchain before. So my general analogy is that previously blockchain has been a financial rail, and with Galactica Network we're kind of introducing the social rails of humanity at like the protocol level for the first time. So you don't have to transfer. You don't have to just assume that every single transaction you make is going to be financial in nature. Like you'll be able to simply make purely social transactions and actually create governance systems that work, DAOs that make sense, and aren't completely reliant on token gated access, that kind of thing. There's and obviously we've only thought, you can take a look on our website and you can see there's a use cases deck on the website. These are only the very base layer, the very tip of the iceberg of what we are considering like primary use cases right now, as we are thinking of them, as we're building this stuff. As everyone probably knows in this space right now, the community and the development community specifically, they are the most inventive people on this planet. And when you put a bunch of inventive people in and give them this kind of tooling, they will create stuff that we have not even remotely thought of, and it's going to be absolutely incredible. I can't wait to see it. I just want to do a very quick reset of the space. You know what, actually, Hoss, do you want to speak first, and then I'll do a reset?
Yeah. Do you think one of the things I envision with this kind of technology is the simple fact, right? When you get, like, say you get pulled over, or if you got to go to a nightclub or wherever you go, right? You give them your identity. Why is it that person's right to see, well, Cosmos Hostel is at this exact address, his eyes colors this, his weight is this, his height is this? It should just be, there should be some sort of identity that they get to just know, like, they could see your picture or whatever, but there's some sort of way that shows, like, he's legit, he's an American citizen, he's of age, but not get to know all those fine details, right? And I think that's what's pretty cool about this sort of technology, is that you can identify who you are without giving all the pertinent details for some random person, even anyone, really. Like even, like, say, a police officer, they really work for the people, so there should be, like, an identity that they get to know, like, okay, yeah, you live in this state or whatever, or this is where you're at, but they don't get to know your mailing address, like your home, because it's not really their business, right? It's like, I think that's what's pretty cool about that's just a use case that I see with like zk certificates, and same thing with universities. They get to maybe know that you have a degree in whatever, say CS or whatever, but they don't get to know, well, you graduated in 2008 or 2009 or 2015. It's really not their business, because then they can stereotype you, or not, you're not qualified for that position based off of your age or something. You know what I mean? Like, I think that's a very useful thing to have.
100%, mate. Yeah. Mike T, please.
I'm just thinking that it would be cool actually to learn our software to send the zk proofs through NFC chips or something like that. So you come to the club and they are transferring the condition to your mobile device, and then you generate the proof and send it back to them. I think that would be really super cool. Yeah, what do you think, Frederick?
That's insane. I love it.
yes, and they can verify it right away.
Yeah, I also think that would be really great. And I think it's actually not too difficult, in my opinion.
Yeah, it's super simple.
Yeah, there are a couple of step missings. Like at the moment, for example, the wallet we're using to hold the zkKYC certificates, and also to prove statements, is at the moment only in the browser extension. But I think it's not so difficult to also bring it to a mobile wallet on your phone, and then
yes, sure.
you have all this stuff.
Sorry for interrupting. I think MetaMask will release the snaps for mobile devices soonish. But even if not, we are planning on having our own wallet after some time. So it's not a problem at all.
Oh man, we're developing dapps as we speak. We're developing real world integrations as we speak. Everyone, this is a good space. Okay, I'm just going to do a very quick reset, guys, just because we've got quite a few more questions to go. I just like to everyone who's recently joined us in the space. I just like to thank you very much for joining us. You are currently listening to the Galactica Corecast. We're currently discussing our DevNet release. We've released our DevNet as of yesterday, the public phase of our DevNet. So you can check that out by going to our website at galactica.com and click on the DevNet tab. You'll be able to join up. You'll be able to test out a lot of the features that we're talking about, especially regarding the zkKYC features. And so you can just go through that process, check the UX, check the UI, make sure that everything we've done is kind of like at least coming up to usable. We're not saying that anything that we've put up so far is in any way finished. This is a public DevNet. It's not anywhere near a final product. So there's going to be some rough edges. There's going to be some pieces there, but we just want to make sure that the fundamentals are getting close to being there. So you can check that out. You can find a lot of information in the pinned tweet. That's our DevNet tweet that went out yesterday. So if you want more information about that, just check up there. In addition, I would love it if you guys could join us on Discord. I see a lot of new people in this space. We've got a lot of new listeners. So I'd really appreciate it if you could check out the Galactica profile. And there should be a Discord link there, or you can check in my profile. There'll be a Discord link there, probably in Frederick's profile as well. I'm not entirely sure, but there's Discord links everywhere. Just make sure you join us. It's a great community. And by joining Discord, you can join us on the Cypher State campaign and earn your Galactica Network citizenship, which is your primary means of becoming like it's probably the most valuable status you can get on blockchain, I would say, but from a personal view. You essentially become a citizen of a blockchain for the very first time in history. And with that, you earn a universal basic income, which is based on the overall output of Galactica Network. So you get that universal basic income for life based on, the value that's produced on and within the network. So you own the protocol, you govern the protocol, and the protocol rewards you for interacting and for contributing your social, your contributions. You don't get any fairer than that, and I think it's very much worthwhile to check out the Cypher State campaign. So just join our Discord and you can get on with it. We're happy to help you in any way we can. Finally, if you could give us a like and a retweet on this space, I would really appreciate it. The retweets especially are very valuable in the algorithm right now. So if you can give us a retweet, I'd really appreciate that. And if you have any questions at all, you can either request to speak or you can just put your question in the comments below and we'd be happy to answer it. We've had some great interactions this show, and I'm very, very happy with the show so far. So we're just going to carry on. We're going to see how much more we can get through these questions for the DevNet. I hope you're having a good time. So yeah, we'll just carry on. In fact, Mike T was just discussing the MetaMask Snap, and that's one of the things I wanted to talk about now. So how does Galactica Snap actually work for anyone who doesn't already know? And especially with regard to holding your ZK certificates in self-custody and generating ZKPs. Whoever would like to answer, please.
Yeah, thanks for the answer. We already talked about it a bit, but I think it's a good idea to take a step back and maybe explain it a bit more. What MetaMask snaps are basically plugins for MetaMask. So MetaMask, the wallet, is soon releasing the system into their stable version. And then you can add plugins that add specific functionality to MetaMask. Like there are some snaps about adding Bitcoin, for example. Other snaps are adding some hints on your transaction data and so on. And we are suggesting at the moment MetaMask as a wallet to interact with the EVM part of Galactica. And we developed this snap to also give users the features to use the zero-knowledge KYC and other zero-knowledge certificates in their own self-custody. So what this is for is that users can have these statements and attestations about their personal data. So, for example, that they have a valid KYC and they have the data in it in their wallet. It's imported there. And this is also the private data you need to create proofs about some statements. So if there is, for example, a dApp that is only available to people that are at least 18 years old, I can now use MetaMask to prove to this dApp and the smart contract associated with it that I am at least 18 years old and that I have a real KYC. So what's then happening is that there's a call from the front-end website you're opening for the dApp to the MetaMask wallet and asking it to create a proof for this. And then inside the wallet, it looks if there is already zkKYC imported and generates the proof, processing all the personal data into the proof that only shows the statement itself. So it shows that you are over 18 years old and not any of the personal data that was in your zkKYC. And this is a really nice system because it allows that users have full control over their personal data, and also that during the process of proving something, this personal data doesn't leave the machine. So there's no other central party or system that can associate your personal data with the on-chain activity. And especially also the KYC guardians who validated your personal documents to create the zkKYC. They can also not trace it because they don't have the possibility to look into the zero knowledge proof generation, and can therefore also not find the link between your on-chain activity and the personal data you have submitted to them. And if you want, you can try it out now. This is, I think, really cool that now it's public, everyone can try it out. And if you follow the links in the announcement, you will also get forwarded to the front end we have that guides you through the process of installing MetaMask, installing the snap, also creating the zkKYC with a test guardian we set up, and then using it to prove to a dApp that you have a real zkKYC.
Absolutely perfect, Frederick. Thank you for that. So yeah, guys, these snaps, they're going to be coming to you very soon. I think we've discussed previously that the MetaMask is aiming to get this functionality out by kind of September, October this year. So yeah, we're looking forward to the kind of ability to hold not only your financial assets in your wallet, but also your proofs. So essentially, kind of like your social capital within your wallet, which is really impressive. Sorry, Frederick, please.
I just wanted to mention one more thing that I forgot. Is that at the moment, you said it, snaps are not available in the stable version of MetaMask because it's still a feature they are auditing. So at the moment, it's my suggestion that users create just a new browser profile, for example in Chrome, where they then install MetaMask Flask with this, which is the development version of MetaMask, where you can try out these new features that are going to be published broadly soon.
That's a very, very good point. So yes, very good advice as well. So yes, you will need MetaMask Flask in order to take part in the public DevNet. And if you have MetaMask Flask and the public current version of MetaMask installed on the same browser, instance, they probably will conflict in some way or another. So it's best not to have them on the same browser instance. So as Frederick quite rightly says, make yourself a new Chrome profile and install MetaMask Flask just on a fresh profile and use the DevNet from there. It's probably going to cause you a lot less headaches. Sorry, Mike, you came off speaker for a second there. Did you want to put something in?
I hate Chrome profiles, so I just turn them on and off every time.
100%, man. Yeah. I've got too many of the damn things. I'll tell you that.
Yes, you can use it like that. Just turn off one installation and turn on another one. It's for lazy purpose.
Oh God, yeah. Okay. In fact, I've actually got a question for you now, Mighty, if you don't mind. So I don't suppose you could just give us maybe some examples of use cases that might help developers kind of get started on the DevNet? What kind of thing are we looking for people to actually build on this thing right now?
Yeah, so let's think together. It's actually pretty easy. We take some protocol from the DeFi sphere, some existing protocol, and we think how should it behave to be compliant. I will start. Let's say a DEX, maybe Uniswap or Curve, something else. Basically, I think what is needed firstly is the check that every user who tries to interact with it has a KYC. So this DApp, I mean, any DEX needs to check first that the user has a special zk proof. That one I've been talking about before. I think 10 minutes ago. The simple proof proving that you actually have a KYC and it's not expired. And maybe if we think deeper, maybe we should think about developing some special pools with some special assets, for example, securities pools that have specific ERC20 tokens that are available not to all the KYC people, but only to those who are accredited investors. And this can be realized if we come up with a special zk certificate for accredited investors, and then they generate some special zk proof that they are accredited investors, just to disclose that to the blockchain, and then they can get the access to those special pools. So ordinary users cannot trade there, but accredited investors can trade. This is like the case. Yeah, we have DEXs, we have traditional finance where not all the assets are available to everyone, and this we just compare them, find the differences, and solve them. So that's actually what we should do with every protocol. Let's think launchpads. So we will need a launchpads on the network. What these launchpads have all the times? I mean, mostly all the times they have KYC to buy the tokens. Okay, then we should integrate it with the zero knowledge KYC to not ask the users to pass this KYC again on every launchpad they want to register and use. We just need them to generate some zk proof that basically can be the same proof for all the launchpads on the network, and then they can start buying something. Okay, so in that for that case, we need to like get some launchpad, maybe the existing one from the Ethereum, so you don't need to like develop it from scratch. You just change the code a bit to integrate it with the KYC and to make it compliant. And I think that there are a lot of cases actually with that. We can think about like specific ERC20 tokens that can be sent only to the KYC accounts. This will prevent the money flow from going to like the gray zone. So we can have a token that can only be sent to KYC users. That's also cool. And I think a million examples we can come up with.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, just the ability to have compliant transactions on a decentralized blockchain is a huge deal, as I'm sure everyone in the audience already knows. It's a very rare thing to be able to do, and to be able to do it and maintain your privacy at the same time is almost unheard of. So that's kind of what Galactica is trying to offer. And like as Mike was saying, I mean, you could create any kind of DApp in which you kind of like maybe check a user. You query a user and it might come back that they are from an unsanctioned territory and that they have a valid KYC and that they are an accredited investor. And then you can let them use the like the compliant pool on your DEX or something. It's almost infinite the amount of use cases that are available when you have verified individuals on chain that you can actually query and find out about without messing up their privacy. It's an incredible set of use cases we can try and come to, and as many as use cases that we can come up with, I have no doubt that our community and the development community will come up with far more. So this is why I'm particularly excited for the DevNet and the testnet to come. It's trying to figure out with the community exactly what these use cases will be. Thank you very much, Mike, for that. That's absolutely perfect. We invite any and all innovation, and if you have any ideas, any community members, even if you're not a developer, and you can see like a use case maybe Just, it doesn't matter if it's already on a website or anything. Just if you can come up with a use case, just post it in Discord. We'd be happy to hear from you and happy to flesh out ideas and trying to figure out exactly what we can do with this new technology. So yeah, please do that. We'll go to the next question. It'll be nice and easy. So why exactly have we chosen to exclude features like setting up custom validator nodes, IBC integration, reputation, governance, all this kind of stuff? Why have we chosen to exclude this stuff from the current phase of the DevNet?
Maybe I can start. There are a couple of different reasons for different of these features. Some are just not ready yet, so not further enough in the development that we feel confident to make it public and let everyone find the bugs that we haven't even tried to find yet. So our plan is probably to add these as we're going and test it internally, then give it to people who we know that they give good feedback, and then give it to the public. And yeah, so some of the things we also have not finished and published yet, because we're still evaluating different strategies and we're not sure which one is best. And so in my opinion, it's not it wouldn't be good to give it out to the public now, because some of these things might give a false impression of what the end result will actually be if it's finished and polished and so on.
Absolutely flawless, mate. Yeah, that makes complete sense. This DevNet is limited in scope for a good reason. We're just trying to make sure that we get this part right, I guess, before we open up everything else. It's a very important piece to zkKYC, so we do need to get this part right. So if you can join us on the DevNet, it would be very appreciated. Even if you're a user who just wants to try out the zkKYC like UX, that's useful to us. Even if you're not going to develop anything, just trying out the UX on the zkKYC features is very valuable in any case. So please check it out. So we've got one more question. What are some unique features of Galactica Network that developers can utilize when creating dapps and primitives? I don't know if you have a particularly answer for that one.
Should I go? So one of the unique features is, of course, the zero-knowledge KYC, so that you have now the infrastructure and the standards to combine the compliance requirements with EVM smart contracts for the dApp logic, and also the privacy that zero-knowledge offers. And so you can now use the tech, see what we have developed, how you can modify it for another use case, and basically play with it and give us feedback on what you want to build. Does it make sense? Do you want to add something?
You're waiting for me, or yes?
Yeah, if you want, feel free to add.
Yes, I think that's actually, as we told many times, this DevNet is mostly about the zkKYC, and this zkKYC, it's like the first thing that is needed by some other protocols that will be on Galactica to start integrating, because I mean, not much of the protocols will integrate with the governance. I think no protocols that are somehow depends on the validator nodes launching, I mean by the community or something. So actually this is like why we released it early like that, because we need to have partners, need to have companies or single developers who are interested in building with us, just to start it like as early as possible.
Yeah, I also think this is quite important that we give it out to you early, so that we get also the feedback early and can steer the development and the product we're going to build with Galactica in the right direction, that it's actually going to be useful for all the people who want to use it.
Yeah, and I think some of the protocols will require reputation. For example, I think our favorite case, it's protocols that can provide you with under collateralized loans based on your reputation. If you have an old and mature account with high social capital, yeah, let's say, you can get a loan for like 50% collateral or something like this. This is the next step for the development of dapps on GALA. And this is like something that we want to deliver after the KYC Devnet. And other features, I think they are matter only for the mainnet launch, yeah, not for the outsourced development, not for the partner development.
My apologies, guys. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Perfect. Yeah, my personal profile decided to rug on me, so I'm now speaking from the Galactica profile. Hi, how you doing? So that's absolutely great. Nice to hear the unique kind of features that we can get out of it. Did we happen to answer? I don't know if you even heard me say the question as I was rugged. Do you elaborate on like the process of getting started as a developer? I'd be happy to answer that one if you guys would prefer. Or has it already been answered?
Oh no, we have not talked about it yet. But,
Perfect.
Yeah.
Okay, I just wanted to kind of like interject, guys. Because we've got the tech guys up here to answer all the tech questions. I'm happy to just kind of give you a good indication of how you want to get involved if you are a developer or if you know a developer. If you are in the audience today. So firstly, if you are in the audience, welcome. You are currently listening to the Galactica Corecast. It would be really beneficial for us if you could give us a like and a retweet on Space. And secondly, if you know a developer or if you are a developer, if you could go to the Galactica Network website, which is galactica.com, there is a Devnet tab, and on that page there is all the information you need to get started. As we've said previously, just with Frederick. It's a good idea to do this whole process on a separate Chrome instance, on a separate Chrome profile with the Galactica, with the MetaMask Flask wallet installed, which is the development version of MetaMask. It just makes your life a whole lot easier and will save you a lot of headaches. So once you've kind of like gone through the process, you should be able to test the zkKYC features and build any kind of dApp that you want using Solidity and the EVM as you would normally do. But then you can try and integrate the zkKYC features into your dApp and try testing out some of the possible compliance features that might be possible when we get going with the testnet and the mainnet to see what you can kind of build on Galactica Network. So yeah, I mean, the process is fairly straightforward, I hope. But if you have any questions whatsoever, you can join us on Discord. We will actually be putting up if there's not already, we will be putting up a channel specifically for the Devnet. You can join us in the main channel anyway, regardless, and ask any questions you wish. We'll be happy to direct you when you need to go. So yeah, that's pretty much how you want to get started. Again, just ask any questions you wish. You can actually ask us questions right now if you wish. You can just request to speak or join us in the comments in the comments section of this space. But yeah, otherwise we'll just continue. So again, with the feedback process, just a little extra actually. The feedback process, you simply need to. There's a form on the website that allows you to provide feedback. You'll be able to provide feedback through the Discord, again in the Devnet channel, which is probably your primary method of doing it. So make sure you're on Discord. And yeah, that's pretty much how you want to get feedback to us at the moment, I think. So yeah, or you can always ask us live on AMAs and such, but obviously the most efficient way is just through the Discord channel. Okay, I think one of the most... oh, sorry, Frederick, please, you have your hand up.
Yeah, just a small thing I wanted to add for people who want to get started with the DevNet is that you can also check out the documentation. So it's at docs.galactica.com. And there you can find in the Galactica Network Dev documentation an overview of all the concepts and technology we have to get you started and to get some of the details you need to actually build. But you can also find there the smart contract addresses and RPC details to get started to connect and deploy contracts on the network. And another thing is also nice is that there are a couple of guides on how to build a dApp, to build the front end for this dApp and connect it with the wallet, and also a guide for KYC guardians or some parties that want to issue zero-knowledge certificates on chain.
Perfect, and thank you for that, Frederick. So yeah, check out docs.galactica.com and we can get you on your way. Again, if you have any questions whatsoever, we are an open book as far as the team goes. We are all on Discord. We're all ready to answer questions, whether that's from developers or from anyone from the community in the community in the listeners below. Please just ask any question you wish of us. We are happy to answer and try and make it as understandable as possible. We know that the content of Galactica Network, the abilities and the features of Galactica Network, as well as the content we put out, are very technical in nature. We are trying to make it as accessible as possible to as many people as possible, and trying to make people understand the value on offer, a perceived value of being able to interact in the same way that you would with any other EVM-based blockchain, but with the ability to maintain your privacy, have the ability to transact compliantly, and have the ability to transact with your reputation rather than just your money. So it's a huge amount of new features that you're able to actually use on Galactica Network. You're able to become a citizen of a blockchain for the very first time in history. We are creating a cipher state, is what we're calling it. This is just a whole set of primitives that enable you to basically an analog of society on chain. This is, again, a concept that's been written about, talked about an awful lot in the last year or so, starting off with a paper that Vitalik Buterin and others wrote in the summer of last year in the form of decentralized society. But this Galactica Network is probably one of the first implementations, not just implementations, but viable implementations of that kind of ethos. So yeah, we are, again, an open book. Please ask any questions you wish, either in the comments and by requesting to speak, or by just joining us on Discord. We are happy to have you. There are invite links for Discord in the Galactica Net profile. Okay, I think we have a couple more questions we want to get through. I realize that this has been quite a long space, but I think we've got an awful lot of valuable information coming out. Next question. Can you guys give us a few more details about the request for proposals, or RFPs? So what exactly are we looking for in submissions, and what kind of rewards can developers expect for this? Perhaps Mike T.
I don't think I should say something before we release it officially, but I can tell that it is coming. We're working on that, and most of the things that we need on chain, most of the compliant protocols, the standard protocols for the chain that we need on GALA, like DEXs, like what else, multi-senders, maybe Explorer and all that stuff, they will be there. So if there is someone who wants to start developing right now, you can contact us directly. We will discuss it and help to choose something. We will show the early version of these RFPs. But before the public announcement, I cannot give any exact details about that.
Yep, that's completely fair. Completely fair. And I'm sure the rewards and all that kind of thing will be discussed as soon as they can be. So final question then, guys. Very simple one, I guess. So how do we plan on scaling and evolving the network, basically like based on the feedback and what we learn from the public DevNet? What kind of stages can we expect? Kind of pretty much what's the roadmap going forward, if you can give us any information on that.
Of course, it depends a bit on what feedback we get, and if people are happy with the zkKYC as we publish it now, or if they think that there are important changes to make. Otherwise, in parallel, we also continue with our roadmap to audit the zkKYC and wallet stuff we have now, for example, and to continue with the reputation, continued transactions, and so on. So I guess it depends on what the feedback is.
Yeah, no doubt. And obviously, we're looking for as much feedback as we can get. Again, I realize that we're asking a lot, guys, but if you do know any developers, you know any teams, any projects that might find use in either the compliant nature of Galactica Network, the enhanced privacy, or the reputational aspects. So that could include, as Mike T and Frederick have already said, things like DEXs and DAOs, that kind of thing on the compliance side. On the reputational side, also DAOs, or even things like NFT projects, I suppose, right? For the reputational side things, you can't actually test the reputational side of Galactica Network yet. That's going to be saved for one of the next stages of the DevNet or testnet. But it would be good, like, just to get a greater amount of awareness of the kind of new features that are coming to blockchain in the form of Galactica Network. So if you know of a DAO or of a project that might benefit from having verifiable on-chain reputation, that kind of thing would be great to get in touch with that kind of project as well, just for future reference and future collaboration, and just for integrating with the community, to be honest. Okay, everyone, I think that pretty much goes through all the questions that I had. And I'm very thankful for Mike T and Frederick's time in answering all those questions. I'm just wondering, Hoss, maybe, I don't know if you have any more questions, or if you have any other thoughts, or if Mike T indeed or Frederick have any other thoughts that you might want to add to what we've already discussed.
No, I mean, I guess the thing that I would add to this is, so for me, I'm blessed to speak to, I don't know, I probably do 10 to 15 meetings a week with random developers and teams throughout crypto, primarily throughout Cosmos. And they all, they speak with the common theme, and a lot of times when we're just kind of bullshitting about things, is the need for this, to have ZK, to be able to verify things off chain, but also that creates some sort of identity, so to speak, reputation. They're working on other things, but a lot of them are, they talk about, that's one of the things that they're fascinated about. It's very ambitious. And I was in Denver back in February, and the whole talk of the Builder Week was all about ZKs, ZK. And for those out there, like, ZKs just in general are very required, because it just alleviates the actual blockchain. You can transact and you can verify transactions off chain, so it just clears it up, so it's not as clunky and congested as well. So just in that aspect alone, it's very required. But then to have this reputation on chain, and then building out the tools to bring people into the space that actually can really move the market and move the space forward. So that's one of the things that I'm really looking forward to, just as a whole, because the current technology that exists really isn't feasible for those things, whether it be privacy or just the immaturity of the market. It's crazy to think about. And don't get me wrong, I like meme coins and have some fun with them, but you can have meme coins get to like the top 20 or 30, or even up to the top 100 in market cap, just like that. Just shows you really how truly immature and early we are in this market. So it's going to be fun to see the transition from just like having an idea and having a fad and fun to actually see these tools be utilized for more things than just the monetary system. So I guess that would be my closing thoughts of everything. And I appreciate the invite and vibing out and just chilling out. So thanks, guys.
We appreciate you coming, man. We really do. And I don't see anything strange about the state of the market, to be honest. Like, and the state of crypto as it is right now. Like, it makes a lot of sense that the projects that are community based are the ones that are the most active right now. You know, and it's as we get adopted, that will change, and the tech and like the innovation will start showing the value and start providing like the rails for adoption. But right now, it's all about the community, and that matters. And on a social network like Galactica Network, that's going to be a lot easier. So yeah, thanks for coming, Horst. It's really appreciated as always. And for anyone who doesn't know, Cosmos Horst co-hosts the Tuesday Space with me, which is the Into the Cyberstate podcast. So make sure you join us on the Tuesday Space as well. Frederick, do you have any final thoughts before we start wrapping this up, mate?
Just one I wanted to mention is that even though it's called a DevNet, it's not only for developers in the technical sense, but I'm also quite excited for all the other people that are going to join, build, and give us feedback. Because I think it's really important that we also have all the right people designing products and use cases to find out what the best combinations are on Galactica. I'm thinking about lawyers that figure out how to make the compliance offerings that people can do on Galactica actually work with the regulation that is around. I'm thinking about artists building the first NFT projects and meme coins, and also just enthusiastic users who give us feedback on how to make the system we're building actually usable, because this is also really important, really valuable feedback that I'm looking forward to. And thanks everyone for listening. Great to be here, and great to hear your questions and feedback.
Well said, Frederick. Well said. Yeah. And we could really appreciate everyone who decides to join the Discord and come and join the community, because that is one of the main parts right now. Mike, teammate, do you have any final thoughts?
No, I just wanted to thank you for the podcast, for leading it. It was quite cool. And yeah, that's it.
You're always welcome, man. Always welcome. And you're always welcome up here, because like your input is always fantastic. It really is. Okay, everyone. So I would just like to thank the audience for their questions, our incredible speakers that we've had today. I think we've learned an awful lot about the DevNet and the Galactica Network in general. Hopefully everyone in the listener panel has learned something today, whether it be about Galactica or whether it be about like just the general state of privacy, the intersection of privacy, compliance, and reputation on chain. So many different subjects have been discussed today. I'm pretty sure someone's learned something, which is the goal. So if you could just do us a favor before we wrap up, if you could please give us a like and a retweet on the space. If we could get as many retweets as we can on this space, it would really help us, and it would really help more people listen, get the recording. It's always good to see that over the last few weeks we've had a lot more people listening to the recording, almost as many people who have been listening to the show itself, which is really great to see. It means that our community is growing and they're interested and they're engaged. So I'm very happy to see that. If you look at the top of the space, you will find, if you look back onto the first of the pinned tweets, you'll find the CypherState campaign. So if you would like to become one of our very first citizens, one of the very first citizens ever of a blockchain, you can click on that link. You can join us on Discord. You can start ranking up, and you can earn your Galactica Network citizenship, which again will provide you with a universal basic income for the life of the network. And that universal basic income that is which will be provided to you is based on the value output of the network itself. The better the Galactica Network does, the more UBI you get, And that is the basics of it. There's a lot more to it, but that's what I'll leave you with right now. So, guys, if you can just visit the website, galactica.com, we'd be happy to you can check out the DevNet for a start, which was announced yesterday and we've been discussing today. If you have any developer friends, or if you have any interest in determining, if you have any interest in building something, or just having an idea on what you can build on Galactica with all these new primitives, then just discuss it in Discord. We're happy to listen to any ideas you have. So I'd very much like to, I think you can probably hear my daughter in the background. So I apologize for that, but she is a complete cutie pie. So don't worry about it. She's okay. I think I'll just wrap up this space and go and give my daughter a hug. Yeah, I would just like to very much thank you guys for joining. I'd like to very much offer I'd like to offer you guys to have a great weekend, and we look forward to seeing you on the very next episode of the Galactica Corecast. Thank you so much for coming, guys. I appreciate you. See you soon.